Think about your app's code base for a second and how much of it comes from open source packages. 70%, 80% maybe? Well, a lot of reports these days actually say that it's nearly 90%. And that's great for getting things done faster, but it can also open the door to vulnerabilities in those packages. Now, open source vulnerabilities are basically flaws in components that attackers can exploit once they're inside your system. They can cause anything from data breaches to downtime or even take over your app entirely. Now, it's super important to make the distinction here. A vulnerability is usually accidental. It's a bug, outdated code, something that just happened to slip through. But malicious packages, on the other hand, those are intentionally made to cause trouble. Both are bad news, but slightly in different ways. And there have been some huge real-world examples. For instance, Lodash and NPM had a prototype pollution issue, and Python's Erlib 3 had SSL verification problems, while NuGet's Newtonsoft JSON had a flaw that exposed sensitive data. And we can't forget the infamous Log4j, which was pulled into countless systems through dependencies. So why should we care so much? Well, it all comes down to how much we rely on open source. And developers love it because it helps us build features fast. And instead of reinventing the wheel, we can just already use high quality pre-built code. And that's great, right? But now you're trusting in someone else's code to be secure. There are three main challenges that come with this. First, there's just a ton of open source components in most apps. We're talking hundreds of packages, each one an opportunity for vulnerabilities to slip in. Then there's the complexity. When you install one package, you're not just trusting that package, you're trusting all the other packages it depends on and all the maintainers behind them. In NPM, for example, one package might bring along implicit trust into 79 other packages maintained by 40 other developers. That's a lot of people you're depending on. And finally, things just move fast. Updates happen constantly in continuous delivery, and even if you barely touch your own code, you're still getting all those changes from your dependencies and their dependencies. And yeah, some of those changes can introduce new risks without you even noticing. Take React as an example. React itself only updates a few times a year, which seems manageable, but it depends on other packages like loosenvify, object assign, and prop types, which all update at their own pace. And while React itself might seem stable, its dependencies might be changing behind the scenes, carrying hidden risks straight into your project. At the end of the day, open source software is incredible. It powers modern development and it helps us build amazing things fast. But it also comes with some serious security risks. Vulnerabilities are everywhere and they can spread quickly through dependencies. Now, open source isn't going anywhere, so the smart move is to manage it carefully. For example, you may want to start tracking your dependencies with an automated tool, or even build security checks into every stage of your development process. I may be talking about these features in a future video, so stay tuned.